welcome back to Smashing Heads Podcast. It's been like a month since we've recorded together. Now, we have released some stuff on Patreon, but this is going to be the first time we've put anything on the main feed, and I think it's been close to a month. But if you are new here, or if you just don't remember who we are, my name is Zach. I'm joined by my wife, Hannah.
Hey, hey, hey.
Best friend, Jake.
I don't think you guys realize how much you missed us.
You're telling them you don't realize.
But how's everybody doing tonight?
That's what they're waiting for.
It's good to be back. I felt like, you know what? I felt like it was a much needed break.
It's been, tomorrow will be a month. By the time this goes live for everyone, it will be a month.
And I don't say
you cut him off for that.
I don't say much needed break because we were sick of you guys. I say much needed break because, you know what, man? We've been going strong for coming up on 3 years now. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I went
Actually, 3 years next week.
Yeah. We have to do a 3-year celebration somehow.
Bad planning on our part.
Yeah. So, you know, we were going real strong. A season like Double Agents has, you know, a way to just kind of drain you. And
we were doing All-Stars, too.
We were doing All-Stars. And then, so, I went on vacation for a week. You guys went on vacation for 2 weeks. Still didn't take me with you. Mm-hmm. In the middle of all of that, there's been a lot happen in our lives. We have played. Actually, you know what? The last time we recorded, which was the All-Stars finale, you and I were kind of at our wits' end with each other.
That's right. We tried to kill each other.
We were, and you can hear it. You can hear it at the top of that pod. You really can. If you go back and listen, I think I make a point like, this is the first time we've talked in like 2 weeks or something. And
and we weren't next door to each other every day.
And I think your response was, yeah, or something like that.
So this podcast right here that people are listening to right this second, might be like hearing whiplash for our listeners.
If you're a patron, you've gotten 2 subsequent podcasts.
But those who are not patrons,
all the more reason to be a patron, because you find out in the 2 Patreon pods after that redemption is real.
I don't think that was we didn't have a theme. It's because we were watching Survivor season 28. I don't think
we survived that.
I don't think we got to a redemption arc.
Yeah. Hannah and I did.
Yeah,
I guess
we
so.
did.
We also got to meet Hot Morgan.
We were introduced to her. That's not the same as meeting her.
I would like to meet her.
Same.
Yeah, she's married as of for about 5 years now. So were you once.
Meeting ain't cheating, all right? Meeting ain't cheating.
Is that a new phrase?
Yeah, meeting ain't cheating.
That's a good one.
I also was once married, as you said.
We're having fun here, guys.
Yeah, we hope she's doing well.
Morgan?
Got her and my ex-wife.
Yeah. Because when Morgan got married 5 years ago, you were still married.
I was still married, so it's just bad timing on.
She got married.
It's just bad timing on both our parts.
Yeah. She saw that you were taken, and she's like, you know what? I'll never have a chance. I need to move on, and she did.
Right.
But now we're back on the market, so
yeah, been on the market for some time. I said a few pods ago that I was not going to talk about my dating life anymore. I'm going to stand by that. Mm-hmm. Unless you're a patron, I will indulge a little bit on Patreon. But there's good reason for that. You two are aware of that reason. It's
a top secret, but we're going to talk about it and talk around it.
Sure.
Like, there's a top secret, but nobody's going to know but us.
Yeah, so did you have you had to put a bow on what you were trying to get to?
Where was I at?
I have no idea.
I guess the only bow to put on it is just there's 2 key points I've made in this open.
And redemption.
I was gonna say there's 3 types of women.
Yeah,
and there's 3 types of women.
There has always been and will always be 3 types of women. If you're unfamiliar. When did I talk about that?
That's the thing.
It was a couple months ago.
I think it was during All-Stars.
Because you've referenced it a few times since then.
Okay.
Here's the thing, guys. It's an inside joke. It's not like we don't... You just go back and listen.
Yeah. I don't need none of
A lot of these inside jokes happen in the middle of recording.
Yeah, I don't need any of your cancel culture on my 3 types of women. All right. So there are 3 types of women. Redemption is real. And
there were 2 types of something.
And
2 points.
That's what it
Who's
was.
making 2 points?
Meeting ain't cheating.
All right. Well, speaking of catchphrases that we have now, pretty soon we have 4 new T-shirts that will be available.
Hit pause on this because I got to ask you about something. Sorry, I had a personal issue with Zach I had to deal with before we went any further.
He had to punch him in the face.
First of all, I was going to cut out the part where you said, "Can we pause the podcast?" Okay. But now you've made it part of the show.
Yeah,
it's canon.
Yeah, it is now.
It's canon now.
So like I was saying,
before you got punched in the face,
we do have 4 new shirts that are coming out very soon. They are not up yet, but they will be on our Threadless store. You can just go to smashingheadspodcast.com/store. And it'll take you directly to there. 4 designs. You can look at them. We'll post about them when they're available. They'll be in all different colors, whatever you want. All different types of shirts. It'll be kind of like our other shirts, but like way more designs and tank tops, sweatshirts, whatever you want. You know.
We have one personal friend who has also been a guest on the show before, who is exceptionally excited about one of these designs.
I'm unaware. Are you? Are you aware?
I mean, I yes, but I didn't think it was. Whatever.
Who is it?
Wesley.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We'll have them ready soon. We're just in the middle of, again, like Jake said earlier, we've all just been kind of running around.
Well, and speaking of Wesley, he requested a 4X, and I think we can say we're running them in 4X if you need it.
I won't guarantee that. I'm gonna, again, because we're not the ones picking the shirts, but I think you can go up to 5X. You just after it gets over like a 2X, you just have to pay a little bit more per shirt. But I'm not limiting any options. That's going to be on the store side.
Yeah. Well, he said he just needs a 4X so that when he washes it and it shrinks, it'll still fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
which is smart.
Well, again,
he's smart with his money.
Just pick whatever types of shirt you like. They have more premium options. They have cheaper options. We try to make our shirts super affordable. Like I think we've made like $1 a shirt or something like that every time. But you know, we just want to get them out there.
The real prize is just seeing you guys wear it.
Yeah, and again, Patreon will get access to when those go live first, just because we kind of put everything up there first. Patreon.com/SmashingHeadsPodcast. And they, like we said, we are watching through season 28 of Survivor. We had a lot of our patrons actually wanted us to do Survivor in the off season, but I didn't want to do a non-challenge related show on our main feed because we know people listen to us for challenge stuff. So we did Survivor on Patreon only, and it's a watch along. Like we're giving you real time.
It's a watching heads.
Yeah, it's a whole separate show where we're watching it together and giving you our takes. So like the first episode, we're learning like
how Survivor works.
16 new people. And so we don't know everyone's name right away, but if you watch along with us, you'll get the gist of it. It's kind of like Riff Tracks or Mystery Science Theater 3000 type thing. So that's at Patreon. And other than that, I mean, guys, we're just back. We're back, and we
back.
Our Patreon were the ones who voted on what season we were doing during this break, and it was between the Gauntlet 2, the Inferno 2, Cutthroat, and Rivals 2. Rivals 2 and Cutthroat, I think, have been on every poll we've done. And for one reason or the other, they've never won, but it was. One got 40% of the votes, and one got 43% of the votes. And so we are doing Rivals 2, which is a phenomenal season.
It didn't register until I hit play. I actually watched this episode today. Mm-hmm. It didn't register until 60 seconds after hitting play. My whole thing of Anastasia being more entertaining than Casey's always been the argument. Current Casey,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Big brother Casey is going to bear out. People are going to be reminded here. Already one episode in, and she is way more entertaining.
Great. I'm ready to be mad.
I got to say, shout out to Greg in our Slack group. He said, how are you, he wanted to know how you were going to celebrate Anastasia's birthday, which is tomorrow in real life. It's tomorrow. We're recording the day before her actual birthday.
Is she on Twitter?
Today's the 29th, so her birthday is June 30th.
Yeah.
Is she on Twitter?
I don't think we follow her on anything. She might be. We could look that up later.
Yeah.
But, yeah, she one and done on the challenge. I mean, I think rightfully so.
I won't deny you that.
Yeah.
But I have more fun watching her than I do Casey.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But it's
Fair?
again,
More than.
I think we've all said we're not big fans of the Big Brother people for the most part.
Yeah.
For the most part. Now, I love when Josh is cast.
I mean,
I get excited.
he's watchable. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
So this season, Rivals 2, I haven't seen it in a while. I don't think Hannah's ever seen the whole season. I think she's watched maybe 4 episodes or so.
Well, and
I think I've gotten like halfway through.
big season for you, being that you're a Dunbar stan.
I forgot how
Bad Dunbar is.
like unlikable
He's
is.
he's
Yeah,
that
he's
just
like the worst.
is the dumb jock like kind of.
It's
I
just,
don't even think it's that.
There's
so much worse.
it's something. It's a very stereotypical
He's
like
very
something.
arrogant.
He's a
about-
meathead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he I think he thinks of himself as an intellectual. And
he's the worst kind because he's not at all. And
No.
he's the worst kind of like thinking he's like the best
Yeah.
because he's not even close.
Yeah, it's I would still probably put him above Danny.
And Tyree.
Yeah,
It's
not
not
Tyree's
tonight.
fault. They lost this elimination.
This
No,
was Dunbar's
but
fault.
Yeah.
isn't Tyree one of those guys who's never won an elimination and made it past episode 2 in any season?
He made it further in the island.
Fine, but the island's weird.
Yeah, but
That whole season doesn't count.
That's a voting thing.
I don't know if he's 0 in whatever in eliminations. You may have to look that up. But yeah, they're both. That's what's really funny is at the end of this episode, Dunbar is complaining about how bad Tyree is, and it's like, well, you're in the same boat, if not worse.
Yeah.
And anyway, we'll get into that in a little bit. We're in Thailand, Phuket, I think Thailand, and as soon as this season started, I was just like,
Tyree is 0-5 in eliminations.
Is he? Okay.
Wow.
I was just like, this is such a good season already. I forgot how much fun it was. I have a list of everyone who's on, the different teams.
Just because I have it pulled up, do you want to hear the episodes that he made it to each season?
Tyree?
Yes.
Yeah. He was on the Inferno 3. He made it to episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He was on the Gauntlet 3. He made it to episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I can read off who he got eliminated by. In the Inferno 3, he got eliminated by Alton.
That's
Anybody's going to lose to him.
Yeah.
In the Gauntlet 3, he withdrew from the game due to a family emergency.
See, I haven't seen those Gauntlets or Infernos in so long. I honestly wanted to watch the Inferno 2 or the Gauntlet 2.
The Island, he made it to episode 5.
Told you.
It was a voting thing, right?
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, so he lost out to Dan and Evelyn.
Dan Walsh.
Yeah. And Rivals, his partner was Davis. They lost in episode 2 to Wes and Kenny.
Understandable.
Yeah.
By the way, though, shout out Dan Walsh. Him and Abram have a podcast together.
Yeah.
About what?
Just life.
Battle of the Exes, he made it to episode 4 with Jasmine. They lost to Anissa and Rachel. And then, of course, we see
you
here.
understand that, too, even.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
So, yeah. Anyway, continue.
So to be fair, I would say to him, he hasn't had always the most favorable matchups.
Yeah, he's going to get some hard hitters.
Josh has had. I mean, he won against Michi, but I mean, I'd say Danny obviously still worse. You could say some people that even might have one elimination win would be worse than Tyree based on who Tyree's gone up against competition wise.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like he was losing to like really, really low level guys. It's just, it is what it is. So anyway, the team starts off. I'm just gonna hit them all: Wes and CT, DM and Anissa, Zach and Trey, Jessica and Anastasia, which we've interviewed. We've interviewed Wes too. I guess I don't need to tell us who all we've interviewed before. Derek and Rob, Rob.
That's Marie's fling.
Yeah, from their St. Thomas World season. He doesn't look anything like that now. Huge beard, like big lumberjack guy. And then you have Paula and Emily, Ty and Leroy, and then Naomi and Cook, which obviously that changes after this episode. And then you got Preston and Knight, Jimmy and Camilla, Tyree and Dunbar, Sarah and Trishelle, Jordyn and Marlon, who are fresh off of the Real World as well, with Jess and I guess was Anastasia on that Real World season? I guess it has to be.
I can't remember.
Has to be just because
For
they're
them
rookies.
to be rivals.
Yeah.
Couple of notes I made just off the cast.
Well, Nani and John A.
Yeah, go for it.
Teresa, Jasmine, Frank and Bananas. Which Frank and Bananas is a fun team.
Yeah.
So one, you've established Frank your man crush on
Sure.
this
Yeah, yeah.
season.
Yes.
You're not ashamed to call him.
We've interviewed Frank.
Well, neither one of us are. Listen, you and I, we are both very attracted to women, but we are not.
I know where you're going with this.
We are not.
You know when someone's good looking.
We know when a guy is good looking.
Yeah. Anyone who's like, oh no, I'm too straight to
No,
make,
man.
you know.
No.
Yeah, no, I can spot a good looking guy when I see
And
one.
Frank is it.
We've got, the return of the most dominant challenge all-star female, John A.
Honestly,
Yeah,
yeah, like
yeah,
she
I
was
know.
surprising in All Stars.
Jordyn and Marlon may be the most well-rounded rookie duo to debut ever, right?
And so since we haven't watched that Real World season, do you think the Rivals pair was a little pushed on them just because they wanted to get some new blood in there? Because it doesn't seem like they have any really hard, but I mean, I guess a lot of them don't at this point.
But I mean, really think about it. If we're talking about pairings that have shown up for the first time, I mean, they're the most it bears out this season too.
Yeah, Frank and Zach won the last season with Sam and Ashley Kelsey. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's what started the Bananas thing is because Frank came in and won his first season.
But Jordan's he's one of the great males.
Oh
of
yeah,
all
I
time.
agree.
Yeah.
I think Frank could be up there, but he just didn't do it.
I think Cook is one of the biggest missed opportunities in
I agree.
challenge history for the women.
It's insane that she was an alternate on All Stars and not on the main cast.
Yeah.
After 2013 was the last time we saw her. She finally agreed to do another show, and then they're like, "Well, you're just gonna hang out in a hotel."
And then, I mean, CT and Wes have to be the best pairing ever. Now, look, they obviously have their issues throughout this season, but I mean, at the time,
Prime CT,
and Prime Wes, right?
maybe not quite, but pretty close.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is hot CT.
I mean, this is
This is like a hot
peak
CT.
CT.
This is CT before
Peak freak CT.
Yes.
freak physically.
Yeah.
he still hasn't quite calmed down yet.
Yeah.
That's
But
okay.
I think if you're a producer, what you did is you're like, well, we know Frank and Bananas are into it. Well, we'll just team Wes and CT up, and we'll just have that be the big draw. Frank fresh off of the last win, CT still never won, and then it's just you're not looking at this being like, oh, I think Derek and Rob are going to have a real chance of this. It's
No way.
You're looking at the other ones, but it is what it is.
I had a couple of notes. I just really liked some of the quotes that we got. As soon as Wes found out he was partnered with CT was excited about it. Wes kind of was too, because I think they realized the two of them together, if CT can keep himself reined in,
It's a dream team.
they can absolutely demolish everybody. Doesn't even matter who else is there. But I thought Wes's quote was pretty funny. He said, "The man legitimately scares me to death," which if this is before CT has calmed down, then I get that.
It is. He chokes Marlon in the pool
Yeah.
later on that night.
And then Paula was so excited to have Emily as her partner.
Yeah,
That's
why-
exactly who she wanted. And then she called her a lost X-Men.
Yeah, Emily is so we're talking about CT being in his physical prime.
Emily was too.
Emily is the female equivalent of physical prime. Now she doesn't have the crazy side CT did.
No.
But if you're wanting a rival, you would be stoked if she's your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Paula's not dumb. She's not a great competitor on the show.
But she knows if she has Emily as her partner, that's her best shot at getting far in this game.
This may be controversial. This may not. Give me someone like Paula all day long over some of the new people off Big Brother and Love Island and things like that.
Paula may freak out on you, but she's at least going to try.
And she's gonna
have a good attitude.
That's what we've talked about. We need entertain. That's what All Stars proved. You need people that are entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like even though, like even in the middle of the daily later on, Paula has a great attitude about it. Like she's goofing off. She's like enjoying it while she's there, even though it's kind of a scary daily. It's just the right attitude to have.
Did you watch her Real World season? I didn't.
Yes.
Her, Bananas, Tyler Duckworth.
Yeah, I only watched through it once, so I don't remember anything about it. And it was when it debuted, too.
Oh, so you watched it?
Yeah, I haven't.
So he was still John. He wasn't Bananas.
Mm-hmm.
He had a little bit of John this season, too. Did you notice that? Like, because he still had that, like...
well, no, this was after he had kind of like established himself.
I'm aware, but there was still some lingering like John in there. I feel like.
I felt it.
Because somebody said like he's synonymous with the challenge at this point. Because he probably had 2 or 3 wins, I'd guess.
Yeah. So at the beginning of the daily, he said something to TJ, and the way he said it was very John. He said money's worth more than gold, and he said the expletive. Right? He said "boosh," right? Like it was just like, all right. That's John. That ain't Bananas. That's John.
Gave his famous speech in the whatever.
That's
it was
fine.
later.
That's Bananas.
Yeah,
but that's why I'm saying there was a little lingering John in there because
he hasn't quite shed it all.
After
off.
he made that comment, he kind of elbowed Frank. Was like, "Am I right, my guy?" It's like that's John.
Okay,
Yeah.
so at this point in Rivals 2, crazy lineup at this point. So he had done the Duel, the Inferno 3, the Gauntlet 3, the Island, the Ruins, Cutthroat, Rivals 1, and Battle of the Exes. He made the final on the Inferno 3, won the Island, won the Ruins, won Rivals, won Battle of the Exes, and then made... I don't want to say anything else after that. But he had won 4 of the previous 7 and made the final in one of the other ones. So, like, he's killing it at this point. Like, he is a guy... He's won 4 of them and made 5 finals in his first 7 seasons. And, the Duel, he went home, like, day 1, right? Like, he was the first guy gone.
Yeah.
And so, like, you take that out of there.
It was Tyler. Tyler put it out.
You take that out. He's been in the final in 5 of the last 6, basically.
And you made a comment about where Jordyn and Marlon kind of shoehorned in as this rival pairing when there's not really a rivalry there. You could make that argument for Bananas and Frank.
I think Frank legitimately, like, was trying to
That's
assert
the
himself.
thing. Is that there was I think it was forced.
It could be, yeah.
Well, yeah, like I got that because when they announced that pairing, Johnny said, "I'm paired up with the spawn of Satan," and I was like, I don't really get how serious that is. Like, I just didn't get it because it was the only rivalry out of everybody on the cast that wasn't in person because
They hadn't done a season together.
They hadn't done a season together, and so it was strictly like social media beef.
Yeah, it's basically the season that Johnny took off was the one that Frank came in and won because it was Battle of the Seasons.
Yeah. It's basically what all these new kids try to do now in order to
Those
get cast.
Those new kids will never be Frank.
But I know, but they saw that whatever it worked with Bananas and Frank, and so they think, oh, if I have beef with this person on social media, we might get paired up in a future Rivals or
shout
get
out
casted.
To Frank for being the
He's a trendsetter.
Do you think these people remember that? These people on the current, do you think they're like, man, Bananas and Frank back then, I need to do that?
Maybe not necessarily, but this social media beef got them paired up together. And so I think some people realize, hey, if I try to have beef with some of these better known names on the challenge, I might either A, just get cast, or B, get a callback again if you've not been on a season before.
That's 100%.
Get a callback, and hopefully if there is like some kind of team pairing, that's who you get paired up with.
What's his name? Idris or whatever.
Yeah,
that's all
he
tries to do. He is in, like, it's sad to watch, and I mean, anyway, but like, yeah, that's for sure a ploy now. I know we're only 2 episodes into Survivor, but when we interviewed Frank, he said he would absolutely do Survivor. I would watch Frank on Survivor in a heartbeat. And again, like, it's Rivals is such a good premise. I do think Cutthroat needs to be used again, but we get into the house, basically. CT's just telling all the rookies the rules of the house. He's telling them don't poop in your own bathroom, go somewhere else. That's where the first interaction with Anastasia comes from.
Mm-hmm. That's where the love story begins.
It's where tale as old as time.
I think he was trying to flirt with both her and Jessica.
He just, listen, see, I think I told you, Jake, we did the math on this. CT's basically between your and my age at this point, like during this filming.
He's like 31.
Yeah, he's about 31. And
that's too old to be acting like this.
But he's lived like an alternate reality for like the last 10 years at this point. Like he wasn't like us.
Han, you know what? You were already over there getting hot and bothered just talking about him. So
rightfully so.
That didn't change anything.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Well, it works then.
It does.
And he wasn't even talking to you.
I know.
I mean, like, all right. Let's say what it is. Anastasia's not the prize in the house. Like, I think she's awkward and explosive and kind of weird looking, if I'm being totally honest. Just as far as compared to a lot.
Which type is she?
Which type of woman? Someone's gonna get real mad about that because they don't understand the reference.
There are 3 types of women.
I don't remember.
What type of woman am I?
I think 3 was.
Oh, you're 3. Carrie's a 3.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Patron Carrie's a 3.
Carrie and I are 3s.
I think 3 was good. I don't remember. Listen, we have all.
Is Anastasia a 3?
We have all of these like references, and like one of the shirts we have is #NippleBoys or whatever. And
that is like,
honest to God, I do not remember.
That's like
what started that.
Within the first 10 episodes, I think.
It is
right?
at least 2.5 years ago.
Yeah,
I have no idea what that was in reference to, but I know it's just been a thing ever since then.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be people that just started listening to us for maybe like War of the Worlds on. And
that don't understand.
They're gonna be like, what does this even mean? You know what? Frankly, I don't know what it means. I'm sure someone remembers, but we talk a lot.
I want to ask that man Paul.
I don't
what
know what
episode it was. He might. He knows everything.
So after CT tells everyone all the rules, Marlon falls and gets glass in the pool, and that's when CT chokes him.
Well, he tried to tell everybody that the party was over because, I mean, obviously glass broken in the pool.
Step on it.
That's super dangerous. And like, I don't think he was in the wrong for trying to get people out of the pool and back in the house. But Marlon wanted to argue and fight over it because he's like, I'm not intimidated by you, blah, 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 which obviously is a lie. I don't know anybody in this house that's not intimidated by him. But it was just stupid. And then CT started losing it and then choked him out.
Well, let me combat you a little bit on this, Han. One, I don't think CT's trying to play role model here. I think he's as hammered as anyone else in that house.
I think he's a little drunk and he's wanting to show these rookies.
Also, you could argue it's even more dangerous
to choke someone.
That and this is what you do, Han, and I love it. I appreciate it. You latch on. There's like 1, maybe 2 people each season. It's like, that's my ride right there. I'm riding with them, and it don't matter. They could pull a knife on somebody. You'd be like, no, it's fine. He deserved it.
And it's just knew something was coming.
Right.
Marlon deserved to get choked out in that pool.
But you could argue just a house full of 30 drunk maniacs is even more dangerous than glass. Fair?
Yeah.
But we figured it out. You're latching on to CT.
I
this
didn't know how
season.
many were on here. 32. It's 32 total.
Yeah.
Listen, peak physical prime. He's got the good hair too.
He was
and
a
even
little
better tan.
He was a little leaner in this season than like the duel 2 when he like almost killed Adam. He was like at his most like beefed up, like he was going to rip someone apart. He looked like he was trying to like be in the NFL. Like he's kind of leaned up a little bit, but he's still super ripped. Like that's the thing. Like all these people who come into the challenge nowadays, they're like, oh, CT, like who cares? Like they didn't see CT during all this, and like he was you back going back 2-3 years now. Josh was God's gift to women. CT was women's gift to the earth or whatever it was.
That's true.
I mean, it is. See, CT's has such a better challenge and TV career than Josh could ever dream of.
Yes, but also CT has the anger issues, which it's okay.
Yep.
He had a lot going on in his life.
It's okay this season.
Leroy pulled CT aside to like calm him down, and this is interesting because we'll see it later on too. I guess this was before Leroy and Bananas were kind of close because later on CT's like plotting with Leroy to like try to get Bananas out of the house. So I guess I don't remember who became friends where because we've seen so many of these people for so long. This was the infamous Tyree pass out.
That's right.
With the door open while he's pooping. That's a tale as old as time. I don't remember who actually closed the door, but good for them. Someone else got naked and put their butt in his face. I think it was Bananas, if I'm being honest.
It was one of the guys.
It looked like Wes.
It could have been Wes.
Because they were extremely pale, whoever it was.
Yeah.
So Wes or Rob,
well, you don't
maybe.
typically tan your butt a lot.
No, they just overall looked pale.
You're getting a little choked up there.
Pale.
I see. I don't even remember who it was, but yeah, that's an interesting choice, guys. That's when we find out DM tells Jess that she's loved CT since the day she met him, and
then the flashback of their first season together and him being real sweet to her.
He's real sweet in this episode,
and he's so encouraging to her, and like he really goes out of his way to build her up and build up her self-confidence, which it's just so it's so good. And like I almost cried watching this, even though I know I've already seen it. I've seen that season, and I've already seen this episode before.
CT's like an onion. He's got a lot of layers to him, and again, he's got the tough exterior, but he legitimately had like I think it was maybe the duel too. It may have been another one. Like his brother had just been killed. Like he should not have. Production should have like been like, hey, maybe this isn't a good environment for someone who just went through something so traumatic. And so like, yeah, he blew up on people. He fought all the time, but he had like some tough things he went, including the whole DM thing. Because clearly, if you watch back and you look at this, even if he's like screwing around and hooking up with other people, like he legitimately still cared for her.
Yeah.
And like it sucks that obviously if you're watching if you're listening to a recap podcast from something from 8 years ago, you know what happened with their situation. But
their romance is the kind of stuff movies are made out of.
Honestly,
like, seriously,
it really is
for real. Yeah, like it's almost cliche, but it was like
it's real life. It really happened.
Yeah, it was legitimate, and
she was always going to be his weakness.
Yeah, I mean, it's we don't want to get too bogged down on that, but he says to her again, if you take the wig off, then I'll kiss you, which just goes back to
their first
season. And so you couldn't even write this stuff, guys. This is reality.
This is real.
So we find out the next day they go to the daily. It's a guys elimination day, and so that means the girls are safe. I think that girls also win like $1,000 or something if they come in first place.
Yeah, it was something like that.
They used to do that more often, but it's called Game of Inches, and basically you have one person suspended, and the other teammate runs and jumps, and then you have to hold on for like 15 seconds, something like that, and the last one standing wins. And so since the girls are safe, they have to go first, which is a good way to do that.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, whoever's safe for the elimination should have to go first if it's paired off like this. I don't remember who said it in the interviews. I will say, like, I know Zach is obviously gets a lot of people hate on him, rightfully so, to a pretty good degree, about how degrading he is with women, and like him and like I think Bananas were like, this is the worst group of athletes ever.
It was Zach,
but like there's some like really good athletes up there, like Emily and Cook. Like Cook's she played for the Philippines national team in soccer, and like I know Kara's not in yet, but
yeah, but that's and then Camilla,
yeah,
but that's about it.
But like
DM was she's pretty good at these challenges.
I think considering the competition, she was good at these challenges. I think if you throw her along with a lot of other girls in today, I don't think she stacks up.
I think this is a better crop on both sides than some of them we've seen in the recent years.
This is one of the best men's crop we've seen.
I forget.
A long time.
I feel like it's a season we recapped, but it's definitely like we've seen much worse like female crops.
Yes.
It may have been like X's or something.
I don't remember.
But I mean,
Emily Schramm's one of the best of all time.
yeah.
And like Cook, probably one of the best one and done players that we've seen that like didn't pan out fully. But
And Camilla, whose issues are well documented,
Was still really good.
Camilla's
multiple time
really
winner.
good at the challenge.
Yeah.
She's a lunatic and probably racist from what we've seen, but she was really good. I don't think she deserves to be back on or anything like that, but
I thought, despite what Zach said prior to the girls starting this daily, he said worst crop of girls they're all
which
sad,
he's only done
pathetic,
one season
whatever.
at this point.
He said some of the worst female athletes.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
And then they start, and every one of those girls made it past the first round.
Yeah, which
I almost think you could have made that jump, Han.
and it's been documented in our personal lives.
You cannot jump. It is just to recap. It is as fascinating. However fascinated you get watching athletes jump, how high they can jump, it is more fascinating how high you can't jump.
Well, it was your ex-wife too. They both did.
I'm sorry. I'm picturing you doing this, and I feel like you doing this will you just run off. It's not even a jump. You just run.
It's not even funny.
You're laughing. You know it's funny.
We found out about that because I think we were at your house. And
We were at your house, and you guys started talking about jumping.
That wasn't the part that I think.
And then you wanted to see which of you two could jump the full length of Jake's couch.
That's what it was. And we both got really close to jumping the full length of the couch. And then your wife at the time, and then my wife at the time, which is also still my wife.
Yes.
They both did it. And it's like if someone had read a book on how to jump, but had never tried it before. And I almost thought it was like, oh, this is a bit. Like, they're getting us. And
it wasn't.
It's still.
Because we made them actually, after that, just stand still. Just jump as high as you can.
It was a night to remember. Tales all this time.
Yeah.
I mean, Jake still references it once a week.
That you can't jump.
Yes,
Yeah.
you talk about it all the time.
It's wild, Han. It's something to be proud of.
Because we play tennis together all the time. Like, it's not like you've never done like athletics before.
No, I've played sports almost my whole life.
Yeah, that's what was so crazy about
It's
it.
just I don't play sports that make me jump.
You know,
That's why
I think just being a kid, we learned it.
You just run right off this beam in this challenge. If it was you just run. You wouldn't need to jump. You just run right into them.
If you ran at that momentum, though, you would just like go face first into their feet, just like you'd be Katie with those water. So anyway, all the girls hold. Then the next round 5 fall in, and then Nisa falls in round 3, and then Emily and Paula were the ones that win.
Versus Nani and John A, the only other team up.
Yeah, which I mean that makes sense. I mean Emily's really strong.
But I thought Nani and John A did really well at this.
I agree.
It helped that John A was so small
Yeah.
that, it wasn't much for Nani to catch her or pull her up if she needed to.
Yeah, I mean, again, they win $1,000, and then I think they get to determine the order for the next daily, which we didn't see yet. So then the guys are going, and they're like, oh, we all have the same pressure because all the girls made round 1. And then all the guys, held on to round 1. And then your guy, Dunbar, was the only one to fall in round 2.
Explain yourself.
No.
Again, the Dunbar stand thing goes back to the duel when we watched. I mean, not the duel. Sorry, the ruins.
He
Yes,
got in
it
a
was the
fight
ruins,
with Kellyanne.
And
Yeah.
Anna was full in on Dunbar.
Yeah, it
in
was
such
just,
a bizarre way.
It's still weird.
Kellyanne started that fight. And then
On her birthday.
Yeah, that was stupid. She started a fight. She picked a fight with him and then got mad that he fought back.
Listen,
With words, not with hands.
he's a guy that it wouldn't surprise me if. I think his Twitter picture and stuff is just his mugshot from when he got arrested sometime. So way to
That's
go.
self-aware.
Way to lean into it, I guess.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny that CT jumped like he was aiming for Wes's head instead of his torso.
Oh, yeah, he jumped hard.
It's like he would have decapitated
I
him.
rewound it to show her the first jump again. Like, you know how like in the X-Men movies when like Wolverine like pounces down on people? That's what he did to Wes. Like he was above him and came down. And you know, it ended up though, Trey and Zach were the ones that won. In the replay, Trey fell a little bit, but Zach's just at this point freakishly
Freak of nature.
big, and he just like
Greek god.
lifted him up.
This is probably Zach at peak, like physical.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's leaned up over
He
the
still
years.
has the long hair.
Yeah.
It's the Thor era Zach.
Yeah, for
Which
sure.
is-
I mean, Zach just physically should have been one of the best people to ever do the challenge, and he's not. I mean, it's just that's what it was.
They were the only team to grab each other in that last round versus almost all the other guys. There had only been like maybe 2 or 3 teams that had been out.
Yeah, so
before that?
Dunbar fell in round 2, and then Ty fell in round 3 with Leroy, and then Trey and Zach were the only ones that held on in round 4. And so on the bus ride back, CT is what I was saying with Leroy, just kind of in the back scheming about trying to get bananas out, and they kind of get around to the house and they're talking with Tyree, and Tyree's like, "Yeah, I want bananas because then if I go home, it's bananas again. Is synonymous for
It's not
winning
that
at
big
this
of a
point,
deal.
which is honestly not a bad strategy.
No,
And that's not what happens at all, though. But
the girls tried to tell or tried to say, you know, like when they're trying to figure out who to go for, they said it needs to be an easy vote. Just say someone you don't know as well. And then Knight came in
Knight.
and piped up and said, you know, oh, well, some people want Frank and Johnny.
he said a lot of people want, and then I think another guy came. I don't remember, but all the girls were like, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, we're not throwing in bananas at this point." And you know, they go into deliberation, and they start going around like, "We're gonna start with the girls," and they go through, and it mostly falls on Rob and Derek, and so the guys think, "Oh, we still got enough to flip votes however we want." And then TJ pulls a big old TJ twist and says, "Well, if it was up to the girls, it'd be Rob and Derek going in." Well, guess what? It is up to the girls. And that's a really interesting twist because that just means that the team, I mean, not team, but I guess the opposite sex that's safe get to determine who goes up for elimination against the person who came in last place, which is a good twist. It's a good, it's not super complicated, but it's a good way to do it.
It's not earth-shattering, but it's fun.
Yeah. Again, in more recent seasons, sometimes they try to do too many twists.
Groundbreaking. That's the word. Not earth-shattering. It's not groundbreaking.
I mean, I think those are
It could
synonyms.
Yeah, that could be the same.
Okay.
I mean, just think about it. Earth-shattering,
Groundbreaking.
groundbreaking.
Yeah.
It's very
Okay.
similar.
The ground is the earth.
You're right.
So, I don't know why I have this written down as a quote, but somebody said, "I'm a weasel?" Who said I'm a weasel?
I don't know.
Jake, did you ever? There was a show on Cartoon Network when we were growing up called Cow and Chicken, and
I remember that.
See, I didn't know if that was before you would.
No,
would
I
have
watched it.
And then they had a spin-off show called IR Baboon, and
I remember that.
it was IR Baboon and I Am Weasel, and that's immediately what came to my head during that. This is probably for maybe 3 people who watched that growing up. But someone said I'm a weasel, and I decided that was worth writing down.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember even hearing that.
I think it was when Frank was like getting vocal with people afterwards. Like, I can't believe you would try to throw us in. I mean, we know Frank. Frank's good for getting into things.
Well, that's a great little aside. You
Yeah.
said.
Well, after the whole voting thing, Wes created a fake nightclub in the living room.
Club Wet.
Great name. Awesome. And this is where we see more of CT, like, kind of shamelessly flirting with Anastasia in front of DM.
The only note I have after Club Wet is Anastasia and CT hook up.
Yeah. Well, before that, CT's kind of flirting with her just in front of everybody, in front of DM, and DM's in the pool with like Camilla and some of the other girls, and she said, you know, at the end of the day, she's like, you know, more than anything, I feel sorry for her because, you know, she doesn't know CT's just doing it for the game. She's just using her.
You know, it would hurt if you're her and like to see it, because clearly she had feelings for him too.
I mean, they had feelings for each other, so I do think she recognized that Anastasia didn't mean anything to CT, and I think everybody knew that he had made a plan to try to get with every girl in the house, and so she knows that, but also on top of it, it does hurt. So I think just saying that, like, oh, he's just using her and she doesn't know it, so I feel sorry for her, is kind of like licking her own wounds.
Well, it's funny because Hannah and I watched it together, and then Jake watched it on his own. And as we were watching this, Hannah's like, "Yeah, he hooks up with," and then they get into it, and DM's wearing the like cave woman costume, and I was like, "No," I was like, "That's a different time that he hooked up with someone else, and someone ran off." It was Adam King. It's what started the whole thing on Duel 2. And so he's done this before. I mean, was the Duel 2 before Rivals 2? Yeah, it was.
Yes.
And so, yeah, this is the second time this has happened. And it just wasn't as hidden and as explosive as the last time.
Yeah. Well, this time they hook up in like a hallway or closet or something.
Yeah, it was like a pass-through like closet almost. Like there weren't doors on it, but it was like a lead into like the rooms or something. And it was like security cameras caught them, which that used to be a much bigger thing in older seasons, is they would show people hooking up through security cameras.
Yeah.
I feel like we've lost, because again, we don't have fun people anymore.
That's right.
Like it's just everyone's like, I'm here to be a competitor, and I will tell you the rules of the game in my confessional, and that's it.
You know who was the last one to really do a lot of that?
Bear.
Yeah.
He's a scumbag though, so.
Cara.
Is what?
That was the last one to really do a lot of that outside of Bear. Now that you
Kyle
make that
and
point.
Polly.
Yeah, but like
Kyle.
Kyle. I'd say Kyle.
Sure.
Because after the whole Cara thing, he got with Faith, and then he got with someone else after Faith got eliminated.
Corey had he got with
Corey's not been like
girls.
that so much in recent seasons.
Well, he's got a kid
he's
now.
got 2 kids now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like on what was it? Invasion of the Champs. It was he hooked up with Camilla, Anissa, and Kayla.
Mm-hmm.
All within like a span of like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, just my point's irrelevant at this point. So there've been plenty. It's fine.
But we're thinking more recent. Like it hasn't happened as much. It seems. You got Fessy to kiss Gabby through a bunk bed. That's about it.
That's the most action we got last season.
Yeah,
It is.
I mean, like that's what I'm saying. Like there wasn't anything last season. So, we find out Naomi's dad is in the hospital. I don't know a lot about Naomi. Wasn't she partnered with Leroy on a season?
They were on the Real World together.
Okay, that's what
they had like.
So you've watched that Real World season since
Yes.
I have, and I only watched it when it aired. So I guess I kind of forgot she was on their season.
Well, the whole reason that she and Cook have beef is because Naomi was with Leroy or something, and
They were sleeping together.
yeah,
They
and
weren't.
And she thought that Cook was trying to take Leroy
what
from
a
her.
good cast.
That's
And-
great. It's a great
and
cast.
Called her a homewrecker.
So you got Leroy, Naomi,
Cra-
Cook,
Crazy Adam.
Crazy Adam, who got kicked off the following challenge season that he
Got
did.
kicked off on the Real World and the challenge.
Yeah, Nani, Mike,
Oh, Mike's so great.
and like that is whoever did the casting on that season.
A+.
hit it out of the park.
That was Dustin too.
No, I forgot Dustin.
Dustin and then that girl he was with.
the blonde girl. I can't
Yeah.
remember her name.
Who's solid.
Mandy?
No.
No, that's not right.
Is it Heather? With her,
I think it is Heather.
her name's Heather too,
yeah,
because Heather Cook.
yeah. That's why she went by Cook. There it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, what great cast all around. But yeah, I haven't watched that since it aired originally.
I thought it was nice that Cook actually pushed her to go home to be
Yeah,
with her
I mean,
dad.
Cook's not like a crazy person.
No,
and
and then Naomi was really upset. She, about leaving, because if she left, then that most likely meant that Cook had to leave too, because they had seen it happen twice before with Sarah Rice.
I don't. Never mind. I don't want to say anything. Yeah, it happened with her and Vinny at this point.
Oh, okay.
I don't think the second one's happened.
Well, they had seen it in the past where if one partner has to go home, both have to go home. And so, she was pretty sure that if she left, that meant Cook had to go. But Cook was like, don't worry about me. This is your family. You need to go.
It just depends. Like, every so often they'll have alternates. Like, Mike was an alternate with Leroy and Rivals 1, I believe.
What if they had just made Leroy leave and didn't bring Mike on?
That's it. Like, every so often they'll have replacements. MJ was a replacement on the Duel 2, and Nehemiah, I think, was the other one because Adam and CT went home for day 1. So it sometimes they have alternates come in, and other times I guess it doesn't fit the formula for what they want, and they're just like, who cares?
I wish they would figure out one way or another, like production would, so that it would just be consistent.
It's got to be hard, though, to just find people to be like, hey, we just need you to kind of sit tight for us.
I mean...
right? If these people have, regular jobs...
That's the thing. It's someone who's like, I'll take a smaller cut and just stay in a hotel for a couple weeks, worst case scenario. I'm assuming they get a per diem, like, hey, for every week you're out here, we'll give you this much. But I mean, in the most recent season, they just put Ashley Mitchell back out there again.
Mm-hmm. Well, we were under weird conditions.
Yeah, it was COVID restrictions and all that. So she goes home. We go to the elimination, which I don't even remember. Does this arena have a name?
Yes, it did. Is it just
down.
called the Jungle?
It may be called.
I think it was just called the Jungle. Yeah.
And TJ's like, Cook, your new partner will be here tomorrow, but he doesn't say who it is. I won't say it outright, but if you can put context clues together, you've heard us kind of talk about it already.
This was the season I thought Cook was the alternate.
Yeah, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
So we get to it looks like hall brawl. I mean, it's a tapered X-shaped almost hall brawl, or like 2 V's back to back, and it's called Last Chance. And basically, you have 2 people that are on defense and 2 people that are on offense, and you just put the pads on, and the defensive people are just trying to block up the tunnel and stop the offensive player from running through. It's not very hard.
It basically is hall brawl, but with 4 people instead of 2.
Which makes sense. I think they do it later on in this season as well. But Tyree, legitimate football player.
Big guy.
Yeah, big dude. I think he played at the University of Nebraska. It makes sense that he'd be the defensive guy because he's I think he was on a defensive end or something like that at Nebraska.
Dunbar's a pretty big guy too. Rob may be the tallest guy, but not very filled out like most of the
Rob's
others.
6'4" or something like that. He's pretty tall.
Derek is the smallest guy in the house.
Yeah, Derek's not playing defense. Derek's just trying to run through.
I mean, Dunbar and Tyree are so much bigger than Rob and Derek that there's no reason they shouldn't win this.
Dunbar's the reason they didn't win this.
I know.
Outright. There's no way around it.
There's no reason for it.
So here's the thing. You have to win 2 rounds, best 2 out of 3. Round 1, Tyree and Rob lock up, and then Derek just runs by. Tyree doesn't pay any attention to him, but also Dunbar doesn't even hit. If you're Dunbar and you're like, Derek, let's conservatively, he's got to weigh 40 pounds more than Derek,
sure.
Right? Because Derek's not nearly as tall and Dunbar's pretty thick. So even if you're on offense, you still can run into people. So just run full speed ahead and meet him in the middle. It was like Dunbar was just hanging back, waiting for a moment, and then Derek just runs right through, he doesn't have any fear, and he kills it. It's not even close. If you're Dunbar, you got to at least meet him in the middle and then try to run through him. So Dunbar lost in round 1. Yeah. And Tyree also wasn't paying attention. I think he just got caught in the moment of messing with Rob. But round 2, Dunbar just falls down.
This is a real bad look for you, Han.
The Dunbar stand of the podcast.
You've made it a pattern on this pod to defend him at all cost. Speak up now. Says, let's hear it. Why is Dunbar not an idiot?
No, he's a meathead.
He's an idiot.
That round 2 was the dumbest thing I'd ever seen because there was so much rope to grab. So there was a rope, and then like there was a little bit of like fabric hanging from
like
the
a
bottom
tassel.
hanging from the bottom of the rope, and he just grazes his finger on the fabric.
He fell. I mean, he did fall down, but like, why did he fall down? That's the other thing.
Why did he fall? No reason for him to fall. Nobody was over there to trip him or grab him or tackle him or pull him. If he's got to fall, grab the rope, grab the tassel, and pull it with you.
He didn't. He couldn't because he fell.
He fell and then just like swiped and didn't get it, and then popped up, and then Derek beats him by 1/10 of a second. I obviously when we're doing these, spur of the moment, we don't have like all the research pulled up and all that. The only like bigger blunder I can think of in an elimination, which I'm sure there are other ones people are going to get upset about, is Dario and Wario, whatever his brother's name was. What was his brother's name?
I don't remember.
Lucario?
Lucario? It's not Lucario. It's not Dario and Lucario.
Is that a Pokemon?
Well, I think you're as close as I was with Wario.
Diodario?
No, that's a guitar string brand.
What was his brother's name?
I don't know. When I typed in Dario, it's Dario Saric from the NBA.
Wilma. No.
I'll find it, guys. Don't worry. Someone's freaking out at home. The Battle of the Bloodlines. Let me find it. It's going to be something it's not Lucario.
I don't think it rhymes with Dario.
I don't
think
think
it's
it does
something
either,
way
but-
off.
Rafi.
Great.
Yeah.
It's Rafi. So
Dario and Wario. Lucario.
So anyway, in their elimination, whatever twin wasn't participating thought the other one won, and he jumps up and like knocks him off the platform, and then I think it was Mitch and Corey. I think Mitch beats him in a tug of war because of it.
Mitch, another missed opportunity for the challenge.
I don't know about that.
Was that Corey's cousin?
Yeah.
I don't mean as like a serious.
Okay. I was like, they came in third that season, I think.
You gotta have your weird kind of just quirky kids on there too, right?
Well, that was the same season that Jenna's dumb cousin, whose dad owned the bakery, was on, and they made the final.
Battle of the Bloodlines is some huge, awful swings and misses on casting.
They'll never do that again.
You had
There's no
Cara
way.
and her cousin Jamie, who was like a trainer or something. Like, they actually did well. They won. And then Jenna and her cousin got second place.
Yeah.
Or third place.
And then-
It was that or...
there were some awful people on that season.
they placed either second or third, and then Corey and Mitch got the other.
I mean, it was just bad all around. So anyway, sorry. Going back to Dunbar sucks. He does, and then he blames Tyree for them losing.
Yeah, Tyree was so mad, and I don't blame him.
But good self-awareness on Dunbar's part for him to just be like, "Look, we weren't winning this thing anyway."
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
But he.
No, come on. What are you saying? He's wrong?
No, I just thought it was so dumb that they had it's a hall brawl. It doesn't have to be the most athletic person. It's
Just
9 times out of 10, it's the people with the most mass that win.
No, I took it as him saying like, "We're not winning this thing as a whole."
But he did agree.
I thought he meant the elimination.
Oh no, he meant the season.
he meant the season.
Yeah, there's no way they're winning this season.
But you say that if you kind of like screw around and don't give it your best effort. He just fell down, and also he just didn't go in round 1. Like, I don't think it was one of those like, oh, I didn't care. They thought they were going to win that elimination. Everyone in the house probably thought they were going to win that elimination, and they didn't. So this is by far Tyree's worst elimination against like who they lost to.
Yeah, gotta be.
So he's pissed. Then we get another club night out, second night out, but the first one was in because it was in Club Wet. This is in a club where everyone is drenched in sweat. And there's
This should have been Club Wet.
Maybe that's where he got it from. Maybe Wes is foreshadowing, man. He probably read up on clubs in Thailand.
That's a Beta Block's idea.
Club
It
Wet.
could be.
Yeah.
One thing I told Hannah, I was like, if this club was in the U.S., there's no way they would, because at one point in the middle of the club, they just had
a hole in the floor.
Yeah, they had they had taken all the like tile out, and then they just had a fire, like a fire pit sunk down to where, think of how drunk all those people are. It
wasn't like in the corner. It was in the middle of the floor. Yeah,
it was like a live fire in the middle. Like someone would fall down and get burned, and like it just wouldn't be able to happen in the U.S. So shout out to Thailand for keeping people on the edge of their seats.
While there's a hazardous fire waiting to gobble people up, DM and CT start dancing together.
Drenched in sweat.
Drenched in sweat. CT, I didn't realize how sweaty CT was until he he moved his arm and it showed one tiny little dry patch of his t-shirt where it was like a light green, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's like buckets of sweat. It was really gross. And then Johnny and Nani and Teresa, or maybe it's just Johnny and Teresa. I think it's just Johnny and Teresa. They're sitting at a table watching, and Teresa calls her such an idiot.
Anastasia.
And then
calls Anastasia that, not DM.
I thought she called DM that because DM was dancing with CT.
She was talking about Anastasia because she just hooked up with CT, but clearly the stuff like she was saying
Anastasia came over to the table.
Yes,
well, it was right before Anastasia joined.
But she was talking about Anastasia.
Okay, well, it was almost like Anastasia was summoned because then she joins the table.
You know, happy birthday. But
happy birthday, Anastasia.
Happy birthday.
She
that's who I'd love to have on the pod.
She joins the table, and then Bananas tries, telling her that she's just a pawn in CT's game.
She is.
Just trying to tell her the truth so that she, whatever, just to tell her. And Anastasia, like in a confessional, she's like, there's no way. Basically, she thinks that she knows the real him, and that what they have is different.
She's 30. She'll be 31 tomorrow.
What kind of response is that?
I don't know what just happened to you.
I'll be 31 next month.
You should call her.
I should.
You won't be 31 next month.
No, that's right. August.
When is your birthday?
Well, July is 2 days.
Yeah, technically it's like
day
a
away
day before July.
Yeah.
It doesn't have her like social media linked on the challenge.
What's her last name?
Miller. Anastasia Miller, which I wouldn't have guessed in 100 years.
Let me get to work here.
Anyway,
what a look for this cast photo.
That's top notch.
Anastasia thinks what she and CT has is different, and that she knows the real him because
she's known him for 24 hours.
Because sometimes he can be kind of sweet.
Which is true. I'll give her that. But also, he does not give a crap about her.
She does not know the real him. The only person that can say that is DM.
Yeah, Anastasia. Jake's made the point all along. It's his hill he's died on that Anastasia has been more entertaining than a lot of these new cast members. Because, shout out to Anastasia. She comes in fresh off a Real World season where no one has seen her yet because it hasn't even aired by the time this is filming.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, she comes in.
Are you sure you got that season right? I thought it was like a Battle of the Seasons or something that was the case.
What?
What you're saying?
It happens more than...
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Back then, a lot of times they'd go directly from the Real World into the challenge filming. And so a lot of people, they don't know who they are. Mm-hmm. So... coming fresh off the Real World, and immediately, day 1, day 2, hooks up with the alpha male of the house, CT.
The hottest guy there.
Yeah, everyone knows who he is. Everyone's scared of him. And I don't want to use, the alpha male as far as, the Reddit incel groups use it, but he is, the guy in the house. Mm-hmm. And then she fights with him, which we haven't seen yet. And she came in like a whirlwind and went out, and she's in and out of our lives we never blink and you miss her. But she left an impression on us.
I can't find her.
Yeah,
I would love it if.
So I'm sure someone that's listening.
I don't know if GamerVev listens or anybody like that, but
I have GamerVev muted on everything just because she does spoiler stuff.
Right. Or he. Do we know?
It's someone that lives in Nashville, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, just come on down then. Come down for a visit. If anybody out there can pinpoint and locate Anastasia Miller, the Anastasia Miller on social media, I will
He
take.
can't even put words together.
I don't know. You want me to take a selfie? I'll send it to you.
That's
You want me to?
Yeah, that is
you know. Is that weird?
I mean, it's a weird form of like payment.
You $5. You got $20 to the person. I will.
By the way, when you Google Anastasia Miller, like one of the autocompletes is and CT.
$20 to the person who can find me Anastasia Miller.
So in your mind, a selfie of yourself is worth $20 in that exchange rate.
Yeah. $20 to the person.
I don't know if it's $20.
$20 to the person that
I
can find
found
me
someone
Anastasia
named
Miller.
Anastasia Miller.
Now, if I find it before you do, listener,
You
then
owe us a picture or $20.
yes, you owe me $20.
Everyone who's listened to this who doesn't find it first.
Has to pay us $20.
Yeah.
Is she married?
We don't know anything. Again, she came in, hooked up with CT, punches him, and then she's gone. And none of us have heard from her ever again.
Another notch for her, because how many people have punched CT and can say they got away with it?
Yeah.
Fair?
Yeah.
Oh, she has IMDb.
Has she done television?
No. The Real World and The Challenge. Yeah, her credits are The Real World and The Challenge, both as self. We're gonna have to get on this, because I'm finding Anastasia Miller's, but they're not her.
Right.
So I'm sure.
What if she just disappeared?
She may have. I mean, I don't know anything about her. I'm gonna click on this Vevmo link, which is full of spoilers for the challenge. So I'm hoping I'm going in with.
Oh, Zach.
I mean, it's a thread about her from 2017, so I don't think they're gonna spoil any future seasons on there. I don't know. We'll have to look it up because I don't think any of us know, and I don't want to just waste dead air trying to look up her social media. But if someone's out there, and if you follow her on anything, either DM us on Twitter or Instagram. You can do it on Facebook if you prefer that, but Twitter, Instagram's better for us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the end of the episode. It's going to be a great season. Again, Hannah's not seen the full thing. She's seen probably about half of it. And honestly, we did one episode for this recap because it's an extra long. It was like an hour and a half premiere or something. Mm-hmm. Maybe going forward, we'll do 2 because I did the math with Jake. And if we don't do 2 a week, then we're going to be doing this season until October.
Yeah, we're going to be here for a while.
And so we'll probably start doubling up and going from there. But we want you guys to watch along with us on Paramount Plus. Let's get into the superlatives for this episode. By the way, if anyone's wondering, Jake and I talked about, I don't know if Hannah was there or not. We may have been doing something else, maybe been playing Rocket League or something, but you can't do fantasy for these seasons because we know who hooks up with who, we know who fights with who wins the whole season, who makes the finals, all that type of stuff. Now, Hannah might not, so that would put us at a big advantage.
It's just unfair. Yeah,
so there's no realistic way to do fantasy stuff for these past seasons. Now, All-Stars and then whatever future seasons, fair game, we'll do it as much as we can. So who wants to go first on who smashed some heads?
Me.
Okay.
Frank's leg muscles when he was at the pool.
Wow.
He was sitting on one of the pool chairs and it had like the camera's angled and it was showing
from like 20 yards away.
Yeah, showing his thighs up close as he was talking to 2 other people in the pool, and then he got up and all of his leg muscles flexed and I almost choked.
God, what? What?
I wasn't expecting it. There was so much.
Was anything in your mouth? Did you just
I choked on air.
Yeah, that happens a lot. She's a cougher. You know that.
Great.
You got one for who smashed some heads?
Who smashed some heads? I'm gonna give it to Anastasia.
Knew you were. I knew you were going to.
He's coming in to her every chance that he can.
She was coming in hot, cigarettes and all, lit up.
Cigarettes.
Lit up, and she's a treasure. She does well. She does good. Anastasia.
She does well. She does good.
Anastasia.
So she does well in the game, and then she does good like a superhero does.
With them cigarettes.
I'll give it to whoever said I'm a weasel, because I don't remember who it was. So mine will be kind of a fill in the blank until someone can get me the whoever said that. I'm not giving it to Trey or Zach or any. I guess I could to like Emily and Paula, but I don't really want to do that either.
You have as much reason to give it to them as you do Trey and Zach.
Exactly. So I don't want to give it to any of them. And I don't really want to give it to Rob and Davis because honestly, Tyree and Dunbar just screwed up. So I'm a weasel. So who got their head smashed?
Tyree. By Dunbar. His own teammate.
He was really upset about that. Waiting on Jake, if anybody's wondering.
I don't know. You got one?
I mean, yeah, I can name a couple.
Let me hear what you have to say.
Well, Tyree definitely was one.
Yeah, but I like to go against the grain.
You could say Dunbar for just like
There hadn't been a time. There hadn't been a time he's been on television he hadn't got his head smashed.
You could say Tyree. Well, I'll say Tyree, but for pooping asleep.
Okay.
Just leaving the door open. I don't think any of us have ever had that happen. I mean, I haven't asked you guys explicitly, but I would assume that that's not something that's ever happened to any of us. You got one yet?
Yeah. I'll just give it to Dunbar, just because he's,
Was this the last season we saw Dunbar?
I'll give it to Han
Because Dunbar.
Because of Dunbar, and her stand-up did not hold up well this episode.
No, you can keep going. I'm just trying to see if this was the last season we saw Dunbar.
It's
it was. That's how he went out. He fell down. And then he's gone.
It's a weird flex on Han's part. So she got her head smashed.
Did you know he
She also got her head smashed because she choked on air tonight. So
that's true.
By looking
Not tonight, it was a few nights ago.
at a leg.
No, I looked at like muscles moving as Frank stood up.
She looked at a leg and joked.
Did you guys know Dunbar was from Natchez, Mississippi?
That sounds about right.
Did you know Anastasia's from Detroit?
I don't know anything about Anastasia.
I'd love to learn more, though.
I'm trying to find her Instagram handle before anybody else so that Jake has to give me $20.
Like, again, on Dunbar's, it's got his social media right here, but on the Challenge Wiki, even the sleuths on that, they don't know about her. So, shout out Dunbar. You might be dead at this point. I don't think you are because I've seen you on social media. He did, I know he did a porn after this with one of the girls from, like, I Love New York or something.
Great.
The girl that spit on New York in Flavor of Love. The blonde chick.
I remember
that girl?
happening.
Yeah.
I can't remember which girl that is.
I don't know her name, but yeah, they got a bunch of washed up like reality stars and they're like, hey, I'll do each other, and he was one of them. Yeah. And so shout out Dunbar, and so other than that, we'll be back with you guys next week. We still will do Survivor pods on Patreon only for season 28, and then we will do these weekly. So watch along with us, Paramount Plus. If you're like us, and sometimes the Paramount Plus has ads, even though you pay for ad-free, everyone complain to them about it because they don't seem to care. So, new shirts coming, patreon.com/SmashingHeadsPodcast, and then SmashingHeadsPodcast.com/store. If you haven't, rate, review on iTunes, all that type of stuff. Follow social media, @SmashingHeads on Twitter, @SmashingHeadsPodcast on Facebook and Instagram.
Have a good night, everyone.